Banana Slam Jam.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to the Wombo Combo Podcast. That is right, we are back, as I'm breakycpk, of course, as always, joined by BSJ. It's a unique show, we'll put it that way. I mean, it goes without saying, right? There's stuff going on in the world, as I'm sure everyone tuning in is very aware of, but still happy to be here and happy to be having some conversation, and we thank you for tuning in. But BSJ, how are you holding on, man?
Yeah, I'm assuming all's good in terms of my voice, because sometimes Discord's a little weird.
You sound
right?
good. We're good.
Okay, cool. The world's in shambles, man. It's weird. I was supposed to be at the major right now, but that seems to be the case for a lot of people. I should have been doing this, or I plan to do that, and here we are. So, just kind of jaw dropping to me what's currently happening. So I look forward to talking about as much as we can today.
Yeah, so to be clear, guys, I mean, we don't want this to be, a gloom and doom podcast by any means, any stretch of the imagination. Yeah, I mean, maybe he does, but no, we understand. But at the same time, it has, of course, affected our scene just as it has, everything else in the world. So we figured we at least stay on topic there, of course, talk about what has happened. But we also are going to be excited to be joined by a player that was going to participate at the major, and obviously with the circumstances no longer the case, and wanted to get his take. So Tanner of NiP, really excited to have him on to talk about that, as well as him in general, of course, joining the team and how that came about and everything. So he'll be joining us very shortly. But again, before he comes on, figured we would essentially give our take on that, specifically starting with the ESL Major and the following announcement that took place, I guess, a little bit later, midway through last week. And, I'll say this, I was, because I too was actually going to be going to the event, not as a talent or anything, but I was going to just go as a spectator. And I was really looking forward to from that aspect, being in NA land, as we've talked about before. But it was Wednesday last week, and I was watching NBA. And, of course, this is where it really started to kind of pick up as far as, things being weird. They're talking about no fans in the stadium, perhaps. And one of the games got postponed last minute. That was the Rudy Gobert situation, where he was found to have the coronavirus. And from there, it just really accelerated. All of a sudden, the NBA announced that they're just shutting everything down for now. Other leagues followed. And no surprise, when that happened, I was like, I don't think I'm going to LA next week. And whether it was happening or not at that point, I said to myself, I don't think I'm going to LA. And sure enough, again, no surprise, a couple days later, the announcement came out. But starting with that, I guess, what was your reaction ultimately to hearing about the cancellation that ended up being?
I mean, I just was really excited about there being a North American LAN. I think it was obviously an honor to be a part of it, but let alone just a lot of friends were going, a lot of just we haven't had one in so long, because TI no longer being held in North America. So that to me was the biggest devastating part. But I can't say I was majorly surprised. They were pretty open about, hey, this is possible, this could happen kind of thing. And the final straw was when Trump announced the ban from all Europe travel. Not saying they would have done it without that happening, but that alone was like, okay, well, maybe 4 of our teams can't even make it.
It's the European region. What do they matter, right? Like, no one actually thinks they're good.
Yeah, nobody actually wins from there anyway. But, it was just a very alarming reality that you kind of knew was inevitable, but it still takes its toll.
Yeah, it goes without saying. I mean, this is a unique, very unique. It's once in a lifetime situation, of course, that happens.
Hopefully,
crossing the fingers of that one, right? But it's certainly one of those moments you kind of, you'll definitely remember, when you really first started hearing about it, etc. So yeah, as far as the event goes, again, when the cancellation happened, and for me, it's like, okay, I'm not going. Okay, not a big deal. Whatever. Then you start thinking about, then all the players that qualified. And okay, to be fair, I keep saying cancellation. Technically, it's been postponed. So I do want to clarify that. Now, again, what that means, it could lead to an ultimate cancellation. We'll see. But it is technically just postponed for now. The possibilities of another date and time and another location, of course, is certainly still out there. But I go back to just really thinking about the logistics too, because I know you've obviously been behind the scenes yourself and have been part of event organization as well. And I could just I can't imagine what the ESL crew and the people behind the scenes are going through in terms of they have this whole venue, getting production set up. I'm sure a lot of their team was already potentially out there, and then to just have this all of a sudden take place, they're the ones I certainly feel for the most, more than anyone when it comes to this event and how it played out here. But again, yeah, is what it is. So
yeah, I agree. The sheer as a spectator, it was great. That's something that we all wanted to go to, and it would have been a really fun event. But from the logistics side of planning and what they're going to do in the future, if ESL will even be able to hold another one if there is one, there's so many questions up in the air, and I can't imagine how much was lost in terms of money just being put into the event already. It's not like the event just suddenly rises out of nowhere. The day or two before the event. So it's quite a crazy occurrence in general that ESL is going through, along with pretty much every other console holder sports event, in the world.
Yeah, that's that is the truth for sure. It's not only it's definitely not only done. Now this is the interesting thing, right? That the take on this whole situation of everything being canceled to traditional sports events in general, whatever out there in the world. Yet the other way to look at this now, though, is this is esports time to shine. And I know that's been promoted a lot. Now, obviously, it's kind of awkward to say that as all these esports events are getting canceled as well. But naturally, the benefit that we have when it comes to esports is the fact that I believe he's going to be joining us soon, but is the fact that we have this online play. Now, obviously, there's limitations there, but that's something we'll be talking about a little bit later in the show as well, and how it's going to affect Dota and everything. But I believe we are going to be joined by Tanner of NiP.Tanner. Are you there, man?
Hello.
Hey, let me turn you up a little bit on my side. Okay, that should be good. How's it going, dude? How you doing over there?
I'm doing well, but a little bummed out. Couldn't be playing at the major right now.
Yeah, I'm sure that's a very understandable way to put it, understandable response. So, what are you even playing Dota right now? Are you kind of just bummed out at the point where Dota doesn't sound fun anymore? Or are you at least still grinding? And what is that like for you right now?
Well, after I heard the 4th major and minor qualifiers have been cancelled, I've been playing a bit of other games. I haven't quit Dota altogether. I've been playing a few pubs a day, but definitely not as much as I would if I was playing to qualify to another major.
Sure. I want to get this sting out of the way here, but I think the community is generally very curious because you have a unique perspective, right? Like as we've already established, you were a player that already qualified for this event, a very unique and an opportunity that not a lot of people get. What was your reaction when you heard, the moment you heard that this was actually just going to be canceled?
It's pretty crazy because our first few flights to LA were postponed or cancelled, and then we started to think something was up. And then the night that Trump imposed the EU ban to NA, we kind of knew that the tournament was going to get cancelled. We were all online, or well, not online. We were in our hotel rooms at 2 a.m. just in our WhatsApp, just talking about it, messaging. And then ESL finally came out with an announcement that the event's going to be postponed.
Yeah.
Yep. I can ask a quick question here. You don't have to talk too much if you don't want to, but my question would be, what would you hope Valve does about this? Do you guys expect that no matter, hypothetically, however long these events are going to be postponed, do you guys expect that they'll do a normal major, or do you expect they might do another round of qualifiers where everyone that's already in the major is playing in it? It's like a 2 majors in one. What would you hope they would do at the very least?
Well, I think in our position as ninjas in pajamas, I think it'd be nice if there was another major just for more DPC points or minor. But obviously, there's health and safety risks with running another tournament and stuff like that. But I'm not sure. I don't think they will just because of how big this coronavirus is. But it'd be nice for the smaller teams to get another shot at getting Dota Pro Circuit points.
So you don't feel do you feel robbed at all of Your qualification.
I mean, could be worse. I think. Like, I hope the event still takes place. Right? They said they postponed it, so
True.
I'm just hoping it happens. But what can you do in my position? Like,
Yeah.
there's not much we can do. If they postpone it, if they cancel it, well, that's just life. I think.
Yeah, that's a good attitude.
And that's I feel like that's the attitude you kind of almost have to have, and yeah, it is very good to hear because it's the healthy attitude. I think is a good way to put it. Because yeah, this is obviously again very unique situation here. So, you've already kind of touched on this a little bit, Tanner, but how? So you're only playing maybe a couple of games a day. How are you? How is the team keeping in shape, as I want to put it? As far are you guys practicing? Are you talking about practicing, or right now, or is a team almost like on a hiatus?
We were planning to boot camp for the epicenter qualifiers, but they
Oh.
just got cancelled, so we're no longer going to do that boot camp. I think. I think the rest of the team are just streaming mostly. I know Peter, Leles, and Dahak, they all have like big streaming communities, so like they're streaming those nights and playing Dota. I think Uni's on west coast of NA at the moment, so like his pubs aren't great, so he's taking like a bit of a chill at the moment. But yeah, other than just playing pubs, we haven't got anything really scheduled for practice until we hear more about the postponed major.
Wait, explain this to me more. NA pub's not great. This is the first I'm hearing about this.
Yeah, please enlighten us.
Elaborate.
I don't know. I've heard from my teammates. I'm not gonna name any names, even though I just said Uni, but they've been telling me how great EU pubs are and NA pubs are pretty. I don't want to be too harsh, but low skill.
That's
All
pretty
right.
accurate, I'd say. That's not harsh.
Not harsh at all. No, they're just shit cans, basically. But not harsh. Not harsh. No. All right, that's what I said. Anyways, so okay, but again, trying to keep up in shape the best you can. But that is again right now. I guess you guys don't really know what you're playing for right now, right? So is it almost fair to say you're kind of just waiting? I think you even suggested you're kind of waiting for Valve to really give more information ultimately before you really come back together. And like, is there any reason to believe? I guess that the future is uncertain with an IP, or do you feel like that you're not too worried about that?
I'm not worried about that. Ever since we qualified to the major, I think we kind of proved that we can be a contender to be one of the top European teams. So I'm not too worried about our team's sake. But obviously, the event thing and like what's going to happen at TI, it's all up in the air at the moment. So maybe a bit of a worry about that stuff. But as a team, I think we're pretty confident in our like ability to play at the top level of Dota.
So now to talk about go into history a little bit, you're a name that not a lot of us really knew about before this season, especially. And here you are joining NiP. PPD picks you up to join the team. And what was that experience like? Did PPD reach out to you randomly, or was there a process there?
Yeah. So I played in the first EU qualifiers with Viking GG, and we took a game of Secret and we won a series against Nigma. And then after that, I wasn't actually contracted on that team. And I think Peter reached out to me on Twitter, just asking if I could play mid for his team and for the next few events. So I definitely took the opportunity to play on a team like that with people with so much experience and leadership. I think, yeah, he just reached out to me on Twitter. We didn't have any overlapping friends, I'd say. So other than that, he reached out to me.
There had to be something in you that kind of, the fact that this is a TI champion after all, PPD, one of the better captains that we've ever known, like the fact that he's reaching out to you, I gotta think that was a moment of like, holy crap, like that realization.
I mean, yeah, I woke up the next morning after the qualifiers. I was pretty bummed out because we lost against Nigma. We just got 3-0'd in the best of 5 for the minor. And then I was like, oh, well, I guess I'll look forward to some online tournaments. And then I got messaged by PPD on Twitter. And then I was like, is this the real PPD? And I just clicked on his profile and yeah, verified. I was like, oh, wow.
How long had you been playing in like the tier 3-esque type scene of Viking GG type of teams before that happened?
So I played last TI quals, like seriously. Before that, I wasn't really playing stuff. I played 2 Wedge tournaments because UK was given a slot, so I just went and played for Team UK, and I went to 2 LANs for Wesji. But other than that, I haven't been really involved in like online tournaments or the tier 2 scene. I wasn't really taking Dota seriously back then as well, because I was planning to go to university and study and stuff. But
Normal things.
you know, like Dota has a way. You just play a lot of games, and then eventually you just want to win more. So from there, I just went from TI quals to open quals, and then we made it to regionals, and I got invited to NiP.
I gotta say, right, that's just that easy, kids. Come on, everyone can be it. I gotta say, we all know the story of Anna and how he kind of had that similar reaction that you just went about, where he got a message from Notel and he thought it was fake, right? It's like, why is Notel messaging me? And here he is 2 TIs later, arguably known as one of the better players we've ever seen, ever played Dota. Not to put pressure on your shoulders, Tanner, but similar story right there. You feel like you're up for the challenge?
Well, like I said, we qualified for the major, and I'm pretty confident in my teammates, and I hope they're confident in me as well. But I believe that we could probably become one of the best teams in Dota, maybe, in the European scene.
Tanner suggesting 2 TIs coming your way for NiP. There you go.
You heard it here first.
No, that's positive attitude. That's good. Another track, you even kind of mentioned you played on the UK Dota team there a little bit, but let's be honest, the UK region has been pretty underrepresented. Well, that wasn't a word, but you get my point. Underrepresented in the Dota scene in general. Why do you think that's the case?
Just no one's good in the UK, I think. I've been to both ESL Birmingham's, and we definitely have a crowd of players. Like, there was full stadiums just like filled with Dota players in the UK, but just no one's good. I think we did have one
The
time.
innate problem.
I mean, we had Beezer. Beezer went to one of the summits, and he was UK. But ever since that, he hasn't really been interested in professional Dota.
All right. Well, are you looking forward to that developing more? Or are you are you not really worrying about the nation and involvement in Dota necessarily?
I'd like to think I've gone past the like regional. Well, it's not even regional. Like my own country, because I've been to like most of the LANs in my own country, and the skill level seems to like stagnate around 5k 6k. No one really tries to get any better than that, and you'd see the same like 10 players in the finals for like most UK LAN events. So yeah, I'd like.
So you're holding the torch, is what you're saying. You know, you're
leading the way.
It's all on your back to carry the UK
More pressure,
representation.
Yeah. I would like to encourage more UK players to get to the competitive scene, but I know there's a lot of commitments to that, and like not everyone has a flexible like schedule, and it's a lot of work, a lot of practice.
What's it like playing with Dahak, by the way? Obviously the newest member on the team, and clearly doing very well with you guys, qualifying for the major here recently. What is it like playing with Dahak?
Dahak's a cool guy. He's always chill. You find that Dahak speaks a lot of Dota, but he doesn't. I'll put it in a nice way. He speaks Dota, so like when we're playing Dota, he knows what he wants, and he can like elaborate in English how he wants to do stuff in Dota. But for example, we went to a restaurant like 2 weeks ago when we were on boot camp for the major, and he didn't know like what the foods were on the menu, so Lelas was reading it out, and then Lelas was like, "Oh, there's roasted duck," or something like that. And then he was like, "What's duck?" And Lelas was just going quack quack. So like he needs a bit of help with like I don't know English words, but when it comes to Dota, he's very good.
That's pretty funny.
We all speak the same language, that is Dota. BSJ, you got anything else for Tanner?
No, I asked my hard pressing questions already. And I got the quack out of them too. So
this was great. I really do appreciate you joining us, Tanner. Obviously, I know it's a little bit later on over there. I mean, you're a gamer, so it's not that late, but
True.
no, we do appreciate it. So thank you so much for coming on. Any last words? Any shout outs you want to make?
Shout out to NiP, obviously, and all our sponsors. NiP for believing in us and our team. Like after our shaky minor, and after that, and like just sticking with the team, and like the mentality that we can always like improve. Hopefully, we get to show off what we're made of at the major when it comes. But yeah.
All right.
Right
Well,
on.
yeah. Thank you again. I genuinely mean this, Tanner. Like, this was, very well spoken, and you have a very positive attitude and the right attitude. I think, especially considering the situation. So definitely a bright future for you moving forward, and I wish you the best of luck. So thanks again for joining us, man.
Thank you very much.
All right. So that was Tanner joining us of NiP. Again, a name that unfamiliar with for a lot of people, including myself, going into the season, and. It's something about, some of these captains. They bring up the No-Tail example, as well as, of course, now PPD, some of the better captains out there that sometimes they just find those diamonds in the rough. And, again, I was having a little bit of fun there. I'm not sitting here saying that he's the next Anna by any means. That's kind of ridiculous. But certainly, again, a team that just qualified for a major, and he is right. They looked a little off the previous cycle of events, and things changed for the better, and we'll see how they do moving forward in these interesting times. So,
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like he's got a good head on his shoulders. I've never actually talked to him at all. So, I think PPD is one of the best captains out there. And with someone with high skill and good attitude under good guidance, I think that does bode quite well for someone like him. And I look forward to seeing how that plays out for him. It is pretty funny, though. I was just like, how long were you in the tier 3 scene? He's just like, yeah, I was in it for like 4 months.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy. That's definitely the exception. You got to give props to I'd say really the EU region for being the main region for cultivating those types of players that just kind of get a lot of experience playing against the best in all their pubs and stuff, and they just show up and they're just ready to be competitive level, or at least, in reach of it, such that a captain can mold them the way that they need to.
Yeah, and I think that's he does set a great example. Again, we've seen before too, but you just got to keep at it, as you're suggesting as well. And it's that one moment that a player that has pull with an organization that may spot you as a result, and before you know it, he's messaging you. You don't think it's real, but turns out it is, and you're playing for a major in the, well, again, awkward times right now. But the point
that
is,
reminds me of the first time I got invited to cast the summit. I was like, what?
Right.
What? Yeah, me? Hi. It's pretty crazy sometimes. It's surreal when what you've been working for just suddenly happens. So good for him.
Absolutely. All right, well, now back to the gloom, because that's
Rip.
what we need more of. But no, it is worth pointing out, in case you haven't heard yet, the Cycle 4 events were announced canceled just yesterday, I want to say, as we're recording this podcast, say on Sunday. Dota 2 Twitter post officially made the announcement that Cycle 4 Major and Minor, it was supposed to be the Dota Pit Minor as well as then the Epicenter Major. Again, Epicenter has been a really prestigious event throughout the year, every year, no matter what scale it's on. It's definitely one of the better ones. Really unfortunate there, but they flat out got canceled. So I kept using cancel for ESL, but again, technically that's postponed. But Cycle 4 is canceled, according to Valve. And that's, of course, it goes without saying why that's
but not
the case.
According to me. I'm going to try to qualify, baby. Let's go.
Gonna try to qualify, gonna make it happen all on your own. So
first major qualification coming in hot.
It might not be too difficult for this one. But this leads us, so where do we go from here, right? Because with those being canceled, you have Cycle 5. There's rumors that potentially also could be canceled. Nothing official yet. And then that leads into TI-10, and I mean, no one truly knows, yada yada. We said it before, but what can Valve do in the meantime to really make sure that things just kind of get forgotten? Because this goes back to the point that we're bringing up before Tanner came on. This is a video game after all. We have the ability to play online, and LAN events are epic and great and everything, but we could still compete online, not necessarily Southeast Asia versus Europe or something like that, but within our regions, it's still possible. There's got to be something there, right?
Yeah, I mean, we obviously on our outline here have the talk of potential season of like next season's online leagues being test run almost here. Like, why not? This is an opportunity where maybe you just hold these local tournaments for these teams and say, hey, or when I say tournaments, I mean leagues. we have 8 weeks that we're not going to have a whole cycle. Why don't we spend this doing something? So maybe some places, like some studios, will just make tournaments. I don't know, like online tournaments. Obviously, the whole scariness of the coronavirus in general is the fact that we have no idea how long this is going to go. I mean,
Yeah.
this could be a few months. This could be the entirety of the year. You really don't know the lasting impact of this quarantine, this global quarantine. This is only the beginning. So,
Yeah.
I've tried to be somewhat educated on the matter, and the main thing that professional health professionals are afraid of is that there's a lot of uncertainty with how the virus works. Like, we've never seen it before, all that kind of stuff. So, for all we know, this could blow over. For all we know, this could be a pandemic of global proportions that lasts for a year or more. And when it comes to whether or not Valve is going to do something about these online leagues, or possibly, what do we do in the meantime? You almost don't know what you're planning for, because what if you plan for a league and then suddenly a month from now things are looking up, and then we're like, oh, well, I guess we're doing the 5th major. Never mind about the league. I think you just have to be very careful planning anything remotely long term in such a time of uncertainty. So because of that, I believe they're probably not going to do really anything. But I don't think Valve has really given us reason to believe they will do anything about anything ever.
So you think just leaving it up to third-party tournaments essentially is what you're saying?
Yeah, I think they'll kind of just let people have tournaments if they want, and I think it'll be a potentially good market for that. But on the same time, I think a lot of people are just going to be streaming, kind of like he said, PBD, Laylis, as well as who else did he say? Dahak, are all got decent stream communities, and I think all the players. I mean, I even see Matama Man streaming every day. He's streaming right now. I think like it's almost fine for the scene to take a break. I think, and some, not trying to be some crazy philosopher here, but the world could maybe use a break. So maybe we don't overreact and say, what can we do to keep this going? Instead, just accept that this is a necessity for the health of the world, and just let things be. Is that an argument? Like, is that really a bad response to just kind of say, let's
just be
weather
chill.
the storm? Yeah, let's just, let's put our concerns towards surviving, and maybe put the rest of the concerns of all the other stuff on the back burner.
Yeah, no, I mean, I definitely see what you're saying, and it's the idea of, just kind of take it easy for now, and a break right now, absolutely. It's, I mean, it goes without saying, we talked about this many times, is there too much happening throughout the season for some of these players? And, well, here you go. Here's definitely a break, a mid-season break, you could call it, that was unexpected, but is here. I will say the argument kind of is that video games, again, goes back to, they are a good distraction. They always have been from real life. It is a way to kind of unplug in a sense. So now that doesn't mean we need a competitive scene to really be thriving for that to be the case. But I guess I'm a little more ambitious with the idea that I do see Valve potentially doing something specifically with this league play. It really just feels like it's lining up for that for a couple of reasons. I mean, one, they clearly have a template. They announced it a month and a half ago now, and it looks pretty solid, fleshed out for the most part, at least on a basic level. And if anything, like you suggested, they could use it as a test run for next season, and this is a great opportunity for that. So and then with the canceling of the Cycle 4 events, the announcement that they made this early on to just flat out cancel them, not even talk about postponements, truly does make me believe that part of the reasoning was because they have these intentions of hosting something else. And again, naturally, it just seems like this these regional leagues, I guess are technically being called, is what that potentially could be. So, yeah, I have faith that they're going to do it. Worst case, though, you're right. I mean, certainly third-party tournaments could step up. In fact, I mean, that's kind of a little bit of a segue. There wasn't a tournament announced today by WePlay. WePlay actually announced an event. It's a charity event. Cool enough that on their Twitter, and as they're calling it, We Save. Clever nameplay there. We Save Charity. They have teams. They have Virtus Pro, Team Liquid, Nigma, Invictus Gaming. They're all set to participate in this event online. That's going to be interesting. Again, it's not a serious tournament. It's for charity and everything, but it's cool to see. So already, WePlay stepping in, and again, I wouldn't be surprised if Epicenter does something. Okay, our major got canceled. Let's throw on our tournament online now. So I certainly, I'm with you there 100%. These third-party tournaments are definitely going to step in, absolutely, and take advantage. But I am ambitious that Valve has something up their sleeve to really kind of make sure that it's not just the end of the season here just yet. So.
Yeah, I mean, I am questioning a bit having a team like Beast Coast in this online tournament. How are they going to deal with a team from South America and teams from Europe playing online tournament? But obviously, it's much more about the message and the fact that it's funding a charity that will be helping the research and aid efforts to battle coronavirus. So I think that that's a cool thing that they're stepping up and doing. And I'm glad the teams are willing to participate. They don't really have anything else to do.
I was gonna say, yeah.
But things like this are cool. And it's a step in the right direction. I just will say that there's a lot of things that have been either confirmed or revealed to me about humans in general that has made me lose a lot of faith and respect for the human race after this whole coronavirus has come out. You see all these clips of just stupid people doing stupid things,
fighting over toilet paper.
Yeah, I was gonna say even the toilet paper. I'm like, really, guys? Your first reaction is to think, what's one of our most precious commodities and hoard it and then sell it? Like people are selling it on Amazon and stuff. Obviously, that got, I don't know if you heard, but that got shut down. But the fact that people were turning this into profit, it's just like that to me. But on the other hand, then you have stuff like this, where there are clearly people who are willing to do something, at least as much as they can, and are offering their support to finding a cure or a vaccine or treatment or anything. So this does put a small smile on my face that not everyone's just a complete idiot when this whole thing is going to crap. So this is a nice shining star in a dark night, whatever metaphor you want to make.
That sounds good. There is plenty of good being shown too, but I'm with you that it's interesting to see some of those unfortunate stories out there. But so the third party tournaments definitely will step up no matter what the case is, I think is the general consensus. But we'll see. Again, Cycle 5 right now, as we know it, is still being planned to go on. That's not for a ways away anyways. So, it's got to be 2 to even 3 months away. So that's, as you said, as you so well stated earlier, no one actually knows how long things are going to last, and we'll kind of play it by ear as we move on. So speaking of that, transitioning, trying to finish on a more positive note here. As the summit event that took place this last week, and of course you yourself were at it as part of the talent there, and as always, the summit came through with just a fun environment, a fun event, and midway through the event, they end up realizing that they're going to be the last Dota event for a while, as far as the LAN goes, so that was interesting too, I'm sure. But starting it off, Fnatic winning it all. Actually defeating a little bit of surprise of the event in OG Seed, getting to the finals against him. But what was your take, I guess, on the event as a whole, specifically more Fnatic winning it in the end?
They clearly look like the best team. I enjoyed watching their, that boded well for them going into the major. These weren't exactly bad teams that they were beating. I think EG getting third is absolutely hilarious. I think, it's just the fact that what makes them getting third so funny is that they they said that they found out about the cancellation like a day or two left in the event, and they said, "Well, I guess this is our major now," and then and then they get third.
Classic.
It's just too funny, like the way that that all came about. So they were clearly uninterested for the most part in the event. What I mean is, like, they weren't trying super hard. They weren't like boot camping prior to this event, scrimming really hard or anything. This event was meant to be a warm up for them, and then it's almost like, okay, I guess we'll really try now. Then you lose. It's just pretty funny. But the series between OG Seed and EG, if you guys didn't watch it, is a pretty good one. I think EG was clearly the better team. OG Seed just made it happen. In the second game, I think, was a bit of an outdraft, and the third game was a complete shit show that I don't want to spoil for anybody who wishes to watch it. A very good game. I mean, I think that's definitely like a David versus Goliath scenario, and I don't think OG Seed's bad at all by any means. I think they showed themselves really nicely this tournament, but they still have a long way to go. But I did like to see that they have the tenacity, to take down a team like EG and the grind fest that was that best of three. So that was really fun to watch. A bit of the vibe of the players and talents kind of went down immediately after the announcement, but then like towards the end of the event, we're all just like, let's like enjoy it while it lasts. And we started making jokes about it being the last Dota event ever and all that kind of stuff. And I'd say overall the mood was relatively lighthearted after after an instant kind of sadness, a gloom kind of came over everybody.
Yeah. I gotta say, it's just cool to see Z Freak once again on a personal level participating, playing some competitive Dota.
Yeah, he owned.
Yeah, he's again definitely a big reason why they not only beat EG but ultimately finished second place in this event, and he's still maybe some bias, but definitely one of the better fours out there, and it would be fun to see him on a team that is able to go somewhere. Not that OGC can't, but again, I feel like he's certainly a tier 1 player himself. So good to see that success. But yeah, it was a fun event as expected. Like I said, with between a lot of the skits, the casting teams that they had, as always, entertaining, especially with the Liquid crew, and I saw Insania getting some love, and I'm just thinking to myself, like, I knew that like 6-7 years ago, man. He was my co-caster then. So, yeah, so fun event, but it really is just kind of that eerie feeling. It's like it was the last Dota LAN for a little bit now, and continue to play the game of we'll see where it all goes, and that's what, of course, a lot of our discussion was on today. So, well, I think that pretty much covers what we planned to cover today, though. Got some good discussion in. Definitely excited to have Tanner on once again. But BSJ, anything else before we wrap up this episode?
Nope, just ready to see the world fall apart bit by bit, and excited to talk about it every week.
Oh, yeah. That's kind of a fair point in that obviously we plan to have a weekly show, guys. I mean, we plan to have that continue. We'll see. We'll see what the content is like, but we'll try to make something there if possible. But again, as of right now, hey, the show goes on, and that's the plan, guys. So with that in mind, we appreciate every follow, every sub to the channel. Prediction Esports, of course, also hit up the Twitch channel if you want to watch it live every Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern is what we shoot for. For myself, breakycpk, joined by BSJ. Once again, a huge shout out to Tanner from NiP for joining us. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys next week. Have a good night.